Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review presents Let's Talk Houston Rockets, presented by Byron L. Riley, CPA. How you doing out there, Rocket fans? We're going to talk about, get your thoughts on this game. This game had a lot of ups and downs, twists and turns. Rockets lost in Minnesota, 113-106. Fourth quarter got interesting. Fred VanVleet got hot, finally made threes. Rockets cut it to one. Then turnovers. Jalen Green got sloppy with the ball. Bad pass picked off by Ant. Then lost the ball off his foot. What are your thoughts on what you saw? Solo says it right there, better than I could say. The ending was brutal. It was brutal. It was just Rockets can't afford to lose right now. They've lost 2 in a row. I'm not sure what the score of the Warriors-Mavs game is right now, but Rockets need the Mavs to win that game to keep the Rockets within 2 of Golden State for that play-in spot, that 10th and final spot in the play-in tournament. But fourth quarter, Fred scored 20 of his 22 points in the fourth quarter. First 3 quarters, Fred was a robust, had 2 points. 1 for 8 from the floor, 0 for 6 from 3. But that fourth quarter, 8 for 12 from the floor, 4 for 7 from 3, scored 20 of the Rockets' 34 points, got the Rockets within 1 point, and then Mike Conley hit a floater push shot with his right hand, his offhand, to push the lead to 3. And then Jalen Green with a careless one-handed pass, try to go across the court, was picked off. Ant got a dunk, put Minnesota up 5 with 59 seconds to go. And then Jalen lost the ball again. so as Fred had a turnover, then Jalen had 2 turnovers. So 3 turnovers in the span of 30 seconds. So Rockets went from down 1 to down 9 in that amount of time. And that's how you do it. That's not what I'm doing, Steve. That's not what I'm doing. You missed it last time, so I'll tell him I was on there a few days ago talking about the game and the Rockets. First time in 4 weeks. Talking Rocks with the fans. A lot of Cougar talk. But closing it out, this business partnership with my man Byron Riley. Going to extend it here for these few more games in April. What is the score of the Warriors-Mavs game? I mean, got to start doing scoreboard watch. What is it? This early first quarter, Golden State up, not going to second quarter. It's 28-27, Warriors over the Mavs. And right now, with the Rockets loss, Rockets are 2.5 behind Golden State. And I think they're basically, in terms of the head-to-head, 3.5. So they need the Mavs. I need some help, Rocket fans. You need to root for the Luka and the Mavs to come through and beat the Warriors twice. I think they face each other 2 times in the next few days. But yeah, it's getting kind of tough now. This week is going to be a tough one. Y'all knew that. Rocket fans knew that, in all honesty. Y'all knew starting on Sunday, Luka and the Mavs, Tuesday in Minnesota, and then Thursday against the Warriors and Friday against the Heat. You had to know it's going to be a tough week. And coming off 11-game winning streak, this is going to be the week to tell to see where. I'm not saying the 11 straight wins was fool's gold, but this week so far, the 0-2 Warriors on Thursday at home. The final stand right there. That's the last shot, really, to make this one final push for that play-in spot. It's not dead. Tonight's loss, that down the stretch, those turnovers down the stretch did not help matters, obviously, as the Rockets lose 113-106 in Minnesota. Rockets are now 38-37 on this season. 7 games left in the regular season. Hope You had a chance, if you haven't already, to see my interview with Coach Udoka's sister, Mfon. We chatted on Saturday. Of course, that's available on YouTube at the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. But as I touched on it earlier today, Coach Ime Udoka was named Western Conference Coach of the Month for March. He is the 7th different coach to have won the award in franchise history, and the first since Mike D'Antoni in February of 2020. During his stint as head coach of Boston in 21-22, Udoka was named Eastern Conference Coach of the Month in February and for the combined months of March and April. He has a career coaching record of 24-5 in March. Y'all know it. The Rockets went 13-2 in March, despite being without leading scorer and rebounder Alperen Sengun for the final 10 games and playing without their top bench scorer, Cam Whitmore, for 9 games. Houston won 11 straight games from March 8th through 29th, tying for its longest streak since a 17-game span during 2017-18. The Rockets, prior to tonight's loss, had also won their past 7 road games after only having 5 road wins prior this season. A few more points here of the release from the Rockets. The Rockets outscored opponents by an average of 9.3 points per game in March. Houston won 6 consecutive games by double digits from March 14th, my birthday, through March 25th, tying for the 3rd longest streak in franchise history. The Rockets scored at least 125 points in 3 straight games, marking their longest streak since a 3-game span in November of 1979. I added the loss in. Houston is 38-37 this season. After going 22-60 last season, that is the 5th best improvement in win totals from one season to the next in franchise history. The Rockets are outscoring opponents by an average of 1.6 points per game this season, after being outscored by a league-high 8.1 points per game over the past 3 seasons. And the last one. This season, the Rockets ranked 10th in scoring defense, 6th in field goal defense, and 2nd in three-point defense. Over the past 3 seasons combined, Houston ranked last in scoring defense, 28th in field goal defense, and 26th in three-point defense. The Rockets are on pace to set the franchise record for averaging the fewest turnovers in a single season after committing the most turnovers in the league over the past 3 seasons. Houston is also allowing the fewest fast break points this season after giving up the most over the past 3 seasons. What do you think about that, Steven Solo? Last 3 years were very good. Well, oh boy. Steven says, well, first, Solo says, we have to beat the Warriors on Thursday. Yep, that's it. Last chance right there. Final shot. Last chance right there. Steven says, I know Jabari has potential, but he's been disappointing for most of this season, at least for his expectations. Dylan Brooks has fallen off a cliff, too. Speaking of, let's see, Mr. Brooks. Let's see if ESPN updated his game log yet. All right. Including tonight's game, Dylan Brooks, 2 for 6. Sunday against the Mavs, 0 for 8. Those 2 games combined, 1 for 11 from 3. March 29th at Utah, 2 for 7 overall. The win at OKC, 8 for 18 overall, 3 for 11 from 3. Home versus Portland, 2 for 13 overall, 0 for 8 from 3. Had 2 good games. The blowout win over Utah, he was 4 for 8 overall, 2 for 3 from 3. Then the win over the Bulls, 10 for 13 overall, 3 for 6 from 3. At Washington, in the game the Rockets scored 137, he was 1 for 7 overall, 0 for 5 from 3. So 3-point numbers have fallen off. Let me see if I can do this real quick. 2, 5, 7, 10 threes. And out of 11, 14, 22, 33, 35, 42, 46. He's 10 for his last 46 from three. Speaking of Dylan Brooks, 10 for his last 46 from three. Stevens going a different route. Brooks is supposed to be our defensive anchor, but he gives so many mistakes, and his shooting is either really good or absolutely atrocious. No in between. Steven Fernandez coming from the top rope. Absolutely atrocious. No in between. Heck, prior to Fred going nuclear, I forgot what Ackerman said. He said nuclear something nuclear in that fourth quarter. But Fred was 8 for 12 overall. But prior to that, Fred's numbers the last few games weren't very good either. I mean, he was 9 for 20 tonight, 8 for 12 in the fourth quarter. Versus Dallas, 3 for 4. At Utah, 9 for 24. At OKC, 5 for 12. Versus Portland, 5 for 18. Utah only made those 10 threes out of 15 attempts. He was 11 for 16. But then he was 3 for 11 before that against the Bulls, 3 for 11 against the Wizards, 5 for 15 against Cleveland. So he's been kind of up and down overall as well from three. 4 for 13 tonight, 3 for 4 Sunday, 4 for 14 at Utah, 1 for 7 at OKC, 2 for 8 against Portland. The game that the video game, 10 for 15 from 3 against Utah, but 3 for 9 against the Bulls, 1 for 4 against the Wizards, 3 for 8 against Cleveland. So his one game where he was 10 for 15, and then Sunday 3 for 4, every other game his last 9, he's shot under 40% or 30% from 3. That's not good. That's an issue. All right, here we go. Steven says, can we talk about that play right after the timeout with just under 1 minute to go? Why is Jalen passing to Jabari in that moment? Is that really what we drew up? Jabari didn't even look ready. I mean, I don't think it was going to Jabari. I don't know what Jalen was doing because the pass seemed like an afterthought. It was like Jalen realized as soon as he let it go, oops, my bad. That's a turnover. And Anthony Edwards picked it off and raced down for a dunk. 5-point game, just like that. So there seemed to be a disconnect there. I don't know why Jalen didn't just go attack. Jabari, Jabari should have been open after a drive into the paint and drive and kick to open corner three, something like that. But Steven, Solo, everybody watching on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, slow-mo, Kyle Anderson, slow-mo, school the Rockets, slow-mo, Kyle Anderson. He was, 4 for 5. It's slow-mo. Let's see. Let me just get it right. Third quarter, slow-mo, 2 for 3. Third and fourth quarter. He was scored, 8 points in a row at one point in the game. They couldn't stop him. I'm like, who is this dude? Kyle Anderson, the dude with the slowest release in the NBA. Not athletic, not explosive. He scored 13 points in the game. 6 for 8 from the floor. Kyle Anderson. Naz Reid had 25. Hit a dagger 3 when Rockets part of their comeback. Naz Reid, it's like Minnesota, Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert kind of forgot about Naz Reid and his great game. And Naz said, all right, I got the ball. I'm shooting 3. Bucket. And Anthony Edwards was struggling from a 3-point line. And he kept shooting them. And then all of a sudden, like a light went on. He said, oh, you know what? Let me go to the basket. You got a dunk. Oh, yeah, man. Your three's not falling. Use your skills, your athleticism, get into the paint. But yes, this too, slow mo with the slow mo with the Euro step and the fake and the bucket. Slow mo. Rockets lost to slow mo. Slow mo. Kyle Anderson got buckets on the Rockets tonight. 6 of them, 6 buckets. The assist part, I mean, that's part of his game. But he was 6 for 8 from the floor, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. He even had 2 block shots. Kyle Anderson had 2 block shots. But Anthony Edwards, 0 for 6 from 3. I think he has now missed 22 straight three-point attempts. And yet he kept jacking them up until he finally decided, yeah, let me go to the basket. Duh. But it's about the Rockets. Go back to it because we got folks joining in. I know you're kind of surprised I'm doing a post-game show during the week, but it's all good here. Adding to mixing things up, doing a Let's Talk Houston Rockets with the fans, my family members, my regulars, my supporters like Solo and Steven. But the Rockets trailed 98-83 with 6:35 left in the fourth quarter. Rudy got a dunk, reverse dunk. Fred hit a fadeaway shot. Then Jalen Green scored a driving layup. And one, made the free throw. Then Fred hit a 3. And another 3. Then Jeff Green hit a 3. Then Fred hit a 3. And lo and behold, they went from down 98-83 to only down 101-100 with 152 left in the fourth. Mike Conley said, youngsters, I'm going to have the ball in my hands, and I'm going to make something happen. And he scored a floater in the paint. Put Minnesota up 3. And then the play we're talking about, the turnover by Jalen Green, led to a steal and dunk by Ant. Rockets down by 5. Just like that. And this, yeah, you kind of had a concern if you're a Rockets fan. Anthony Edwards, first half, he was a non-factor. He was a non-factor, and yet the Rockets were down at halftime. So that was problematic. First half for Ant, he had 2 free throws. That's it. 0 for 5 from the floor. 0 for 2 from 3. He made 2 free throws, and he had 2 turnovers. And Rockets were down. Rockets were down at halftime because of dudes like Naz Reid going off in the second quarter. Rockets tied the game up at 41 and at 43. Then McDaniels with a hook shot, driving hook shot. Naz Reid hit a 3. Naz Reid scored a layup. Slow-mo with a driving layup. How's that possible? And then Ant hit 2 free throws. And Rockets are down by 9 at halftime, 54-45. So they went from 41-41 to trailing by 9, 54-45. And keep in mind, if you didn't watch the game, the Rockets were up 27-16 early in the second quarter. And then Nickeil Alexander-Walker hit a 3. Mike Conley hit a 4-point play. Slow-mo hit a floater. Then Rudy scored tied up at 27. It's 11 straight points like that in the span of 2 minutes. Rockets up 11, the game was tied. Just like that. Solo says, as Mfon said in our chat, Rockets need to address shooting in the offseason. Yeah, they sure do. All right, check that out. But what are your thoughts? Steven, do you agree with that? folks watching on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, YouTube, is shooting the Rockets' main priority, top priority of this offseason? If not, what else is it? Y'all want to talk about Tim McMahon, what Tim said about Rockets want to accelerate phase 3 and make a trade involving either Al P or Jalen Green? Thoughts on that? Cam Whitmore scored 14 points tonight off the bench. 5 for 11 overall, 3 for 6 from 3. Missed a dunk. He had 3 of the team's turnovers. Jalen Green had 5 of the Rockets' 15 team turnovers. Amin had 4 quick points to start the third quarter. 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. Those numbers kind of surprised me because it didn't seem to be much of an impact on the game. But Jabari scored 18 tonight, but he's only 2 for 8 from 3. Had 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 for 14 from the floor overall. So the game was kind of up and down. So what are your thoughts on the up and down? Rockets led by 11, as much as 11. Minnesota led by as much as 15. Game was tied 5 times. Had 2 lead changes. Rockets outscored Minnesota 22-9 fast break points. Both teams scored 13 second chance points. Minnesota won in the paint 52-46. Rockets ended up making 14 threes. They missed 34 threes, so they were 14 for 48 for the game. First 3 quarters, they were 7 for 33 from 3. Fourth quarter, 7 for 15, and that's what helped them get back in the game and get within 1 point. All right, Solo, give me an update here, giving us an update. Warriors up 11 on the Mavs. Jamon, how are you? Team fought hard, but just ran out of talent in the end. Steven says, I was so pumped for the Rockets versus Warriors game this Thursday, and now it looks like it's not going to matter anymore, especially with the Warriors win tonight. If the Warriors do win tonight, they will be up 3 on the Rockets for that final spot, well, play-in spot, the 10th spot. I think the Lakers won, so they're still winning. And Lakers might be, what are the standings overall? But yeah, it's Rockets 11-game win streak got them in the mix. But then now these last 2 losses have kind of poured cold water on the play-in possibility. Let's see, the Lakers are 1.5 out of 7, 2 up over the Warriors. Lakers in that 9th spot, just 1 game out of the 8th spot. So, J-Mon, we haven't talked in a while. What are your thoughts on how things are right now? Rockets are 38-37. They have surpassed my win prediction of 36. They should, J-Mon, I think you'd agree, they should get to 40 wins, right? Which you wanted. Demand is kind of the wrong word, but really pushed for. So if they get to that, they finish 500, slightly better. Is this season a success? Will it be a success? And reminder, everybody, click on that shop button if you're watching on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. Buy you a mug, buy you a cap, buy you a shirt. Do a super chat, super sticker, support the Roundball Review. I was happy that the Roundball Review was represented represented this evening at the McDonald's All-America games in town, both boys and girls. I wasn't there, but I got approved for a credential for a young lady who wants to start her sports media career. So got her approved for that. So that's a positive for the Roundball Review Media Group. Of course, had the Guy V. Lewis Award reception Monday night. I was part of that, helped organize that. I'm on that committee, recognizing the 10 best boys high school players in the Houston area. Salute to Chris McDermott from Booker T. Washington for winning the award. So I'm trying to do a lot of different things, a lot of irons in the fire, hoping something comes off. The good news I referenced last week has not happened yet, unfortunately. So that is disappointing. I need some good news going forward here, truly, as the season comes to an end. But Draymond says we may end up going 2-5 in the last 7 games because the only easy games I see are the Jazz and the Blazers. How about that? What do you say, Draymond? I know you said your previous comment right here. I think we're good if we get to 40 wins. So going 2-5 we get that 40. Would that be good for you if they finish the season 2-5? And so that would be 38-37, 2-5. They're at 1 point, 38-35. So that means they would have finished 2-7, something like that. Not a great way to finish the season. But 40 wins. Everybody watching. Would 40 wins be a good season, in your opinion? All right. Steven says he thinks the Clippers will probably rest their starters in the last game of the season. Probably. Makes sense to me. Unless they need it. Solo says for sure if they get to 40. Draymond says he'd be good with that. He'd be good with that. But if we end the season poorly, Draymond is on board with possibly trading Jalen and Jabari. What do y'all think of that, Solo, and everyone watching on the platforms? And if you're new, if you're watching me on X, Twitter, you can comment. I think you can comment. Type in your comments so I can see them here on the show. What do you think of that? Tony, thank you. Solo says LOL to that, Damon. Steven says, not many people expected Rockets to get 40 wins. I was one of those. Yep. I was wrong on that one. I guess Terry's busy. Couldn't make it tonight. He might join momentarily. Hopefully, from New Zealand. I can always tell when Rockets win or lose because when they win, I get a message from Terry from New Zealand. 2 more to go, Kris. 4 more to go, Kris. Whatever. But when they lose, I don't hear from him. But Steven Fernandez says, whoa, slow down there, Draymond. Green has tapped into something. He's been special. Solo. We just need Şengün and Tari healthy. And Steven Adams. Yes, to give those backup minutes. But get your thoughts on this. One thing that Coach Udoka's sister said is that the Rockets have a lot of talent, young talent, and they're deep. She did say they need shooting and preferably an athletic shot blocking big. But what ways do y'all think the Rockets need to improve? If it's not Jalen Green, has Jalen Green done enough in the last 5-6 weeks to be 1 or 1A for the Rockets? Has Jalen done enough to be the face of the franchise? Which prior to that, many of you guys on these shows did not believe he was. He was like third best on the team. So has he now returned to face of the franchise status? Do y'all have concerns with the talent meshing when LP returns? Will Jalen Green still be as effective with LP taking up minutes from the low post? Jamon says he's concerned that what we saw in March from Jalen was just a streak. Because I thought about this. The 2 turnovers Jalen had in the final minute, they're mistakes, and he didn't do them on purpose, all that kind of stuff. I get that. But those kind of mistakes, could they be an indicator of he just you can't rely on him come crunch time if the ball's in his hand kind of stuff? Did y'all have it? Anyone have flashbacks like that? Just putting it out there. Did anybody go, see, this is the Jalen that I'm afraid of the Rockets getting long term? Solo says Jabari and Cam need to improve a lot next season. Steven says Jalen Green has improved in playmaking and defense. It's been great to see his improvements. But is it just a fad? Is it just a 4-week thing? Or is it part of who he is now, Steven? Do you no longer have doubts about Jalen Green and his future as a Rocket? Has he convinced you? Have these 4 or 5 weeks convinced you that Jalen Green is the man for the franchise? Jamon says, I think Cam Whitmore can be a better scorer than Green, so it may be prudent to trade Green now while he has value. Derek, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us. Defense looked good tonight, but not enough. Need more inside and outside the arc, more size and speed. Jamon adds, it was the turnovers and the bricks from 3. He has improved. I'm talking about Jalen, but it's still not good enough to compete in the West. I don't know how I feel about it. When the threes are not falling, you need a low post option. Rockets don't have that without LP. Or you need to put the ball down, attack the basket, get it to the paint, draw fouls, get to the free throw line. They went away from that too much for me when the threes weren't falling. Gobert was in drop coverage a lot, was daring the Rockets to hit threes, and for the first 3 quarters, they didn't make threes. Then Fred got hot and made 4 threes in the 4th quarter, and Uncle Jeff made a 3. Mo Beasley, how you doing? Thank you. Mo Beasley is not worried about Jalen. He's going to be fine. But Mo Beasley wants to see Tari start next season and put Dylan Brooks on the bench, bring him off the bench. Scenario. Cheryl, how are you? Thank you for your comment. Welcome. Good to see you. Cheryl says Jalen can't be trusted for a crucial game. You can actually trust LP. What do I think about that? Solo says, Amen needs to start over Dylan when everyone is healthy. Steven says, I would not trade Green. I think he gets it now. When Şengün comes back, they won't be able to double Jalen all game, or Şengün will punish him and vice versa. What do y'all think? Everybody chiming in now. Rockets address shooting. How will they address shooting? Will it be via trade? And if it is, how do you want the Rockets to improve the roster? via a trade? And if it's a trade, who do you want them to trade? Give me some folks. And Steven says, did no one see the OKC game? Jalen literally carried his team to a win, a clutch win. I'm sure they saw it, Steven, but some fans are saying they don't believe this Jalen is a long-term Jalen. This is his third year, and so far he's 3 for 3 playing well after the All-Star break. Well, you got the first part of the season too. you know, Solo's okay. So Solo's talking about trading the back end guys to get shooting, to improve the shooting. You think Jay Sean Tate and Jock Landale trades are going to get that done? Do y'all believe are y'all at the point of, in order for the Rockets to improve, to be top 6, I think you right, Solo, last show, be a top 6 team in the West, in order to get that would have to be a trade, and trading of a core player. Solo wants to trade the Nets pick this year as part of the package. Okay. All right. Now we got some back and forth here. Laissez faire. Jalen is a better choice for clutch than Şengün. That's why so many lost Houston before. KDC chiming in. 10 to 11 games, good games is nice, but 82 games in the season. That's like 12%. I don't mind Jalen still getting the shots as lead shot taker, but still need to see more if he asks for a max. Jamon says, if we finish the season on a high note, he's okay with bringing Jalen back, though, and hope for internal growth from the core. Maybe he improves his shot in the offseason. But you said if the team finishes on a high note. Minutes ago, you thought the Rockets would finish these last 7 games 2-5. So that is not on a high note. So everybody chiming in. Is it Lisa Fire? Everybody chiming in last few minutes. If the Rockets go 2-5 these last 7 games, would that type of finish spur you to change your mind and say, no, this team just needs something else that only a trade can solve? Or it just matter of, no, we'll be good. We get everybody healthy. Let's see this team get healthy, and then let's judge from there. What say you? Solo says both Jalen and Alp have had their bad moments in the clutch, but they will grow and get better. Steven says, I would like to see the young guys, Cam, Tari, and Amin, get more minutes next year. Trade Dylan. He clogs up too many minutes. Got to do this before I forget, before my man gets mad at me. Got to thank my man as soon as it comes up for me. Here we go. Thank you to Byron Riley, CPA. Give him a call, 832-303-3995. Once again, Byron Riley. Go to his website, byronrileycpa.com. Call 832-303-3995. It's April. For many of us, it's time to pay those taxes. Call him 832-303-3995 or go to the website, byronrileycpa.com. Devrick says, trade Tate, Boban, Landale, but I like what Landale brought when Şengün was out with the injury. Jamon agrees with Steven. Dillon should be the first name that comes up in any trade negotiations. Oh, Stola with an update. The Mavs have tied the Warriors at the half. Keep hope alive, Rocket fans. Keep hope alive. There's a chance that the Rockets could still be down just 2 games going into Thursday's matchup here in H-Town against Steph and the Warriors. Halftime score 49-49, Golden State and Dallas. Look at Denver. The Spurs tied with the Nuggets on the road. Tied at 103. How about that? It can't be denied that a lot of lost because Şengün on the clutch. Hero ball. Duo of Fred and Şengün. All right. J-Mon, we need for Luka to cook the Warriors like he cooked us. And what do I think about that? When y'all watching the game Sunday, what were y'all thinking? That first quarter, Luka put on. That first quarter was something else. First quarter, Luka had 22 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists in the first quarter. That's a game. That's a good game for people. 22, 8, and 4 in the first quarter. And Dante Exum was 3 for 3 from 3. Dante Exum. He couldn't make a 3 his first few years in the NBA, his prior stint, to save his life. And he was 3 for 3 from 3. Man. But Luka. And then at third quarter, when he made that 21-foot flip shot, I was like, yeah, it's not the Rockets' night tonight, man. Yeah. Boy, he's a bad, bad man. And there was some thoughts about this too. Me and some colleagues kicked it around after the game. Eamon got criticism for the defensive game plan and lack of double teams. But yeah, when you double team, you just open shooters for everybody else. You know, Dillon Brooks was 0 for 7 from 3. Rockets had good looks. Their players did make shots. You know, Luka, fourth quarter, didn't score. Kyrie took over in the fourth quarter. But it was something. It was something to see in person. But we're talking about the Rockets losing tonight, Tuesday night in Minnesota, 113-106. Fred VanVleet brought the Rockets back with 20 of his 22 points he scored in the fourth quarter. Rockets trailed 98-83 and got within 101-100. And then the turnovers. Jalen Green with a bad pass. Ant with a steal and dunk. Jalen Green with another turnover. Led to another dunk. And a blink of an eye. So it was just. You thought it was possible when they got within 1. But Mike Conley hit that floater in the paint to push the 3. Yeah, just one of those things, man, you know. And Rockets are now 38-37, 7 games to go in the regular season. It is indeed a make or miss league. And that's Calvin said it. Limit the turnovers. And the Rockets did not do it. Let's see. Fourth quarter, the Rockets had 3 turnovers in roughly a 30-second span in the final minute of the fourth quarter. Fred had 1, Jalen had 2. And let me see. They had 15 team turnovers overall. So you can find the fourth quarter stat sheet here. Fourth quarter. I know it's here. The NBA does do that. Where is it here? Fourth quarter, Rockets had 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter. And Minnesota scored 9 points off those 6 turnovers. 6. Ugh. So first 3 quarters, they had 9 turnovers. They had 6 turnovers in the fourth quarter. That'll bite you in the butt. And that's what happened. And Rockets lost by 7, 113-106. Rooting for the Dallas Mavericks to beat the Warriors this evening tonight to stay 2 games out of that 10th spot, that play-in spot. If Golden State wins, Rockets will be down 3 with just 7 games to go. Ugh, it's going to be tough then in that case. The spacing was poor. 3 turnovers in a 40-second span from your backcourt. 1 from Fred, 2 from Jalen. So that's an issue. Golden State. Thoughts on Thursday's matchup? What do you want to see in Thursday's game? KDC says they put on the clamp. Good team like the Wolves have a second gear. What do you want to see in Thursday's matchup? Obviously, we want to see a Rockets win. But expectations. You want to see Dylan Brooks against Draymond Green? There you go. Solo with Dylan versus Draymond fight. Deverick wants to see defense. Just want to see. I'd like. See, KDC agrees. Dylan versus Draymond fight would be good. I would like to see 3-point shooting. I'd like to see the Warriors lose tonight. So it'd just be a 2-game deficit for the Rockets. That's different in terms of playoff vibe, seeing how the young team plays in a kind of, for them, playoff atmosphere. But if they're down 3 games, if the Warriors do come back and win the second half and win the game tonight, it won't be as much of a vibe. The Warriors still need to win, but it won't be as important if they're up 3 with 7 games to go. That makes sense? But everyone, yep, I might do another Let's Talk Houston Rockets Thursday after the game. I won't be in town, but that does not mean I won't be able to watch the game. I'll be in Cleveland getting ready to watch the Women's Final Four. So if I'm able to watch the game, I will do another Let's Talk Houston Rockets post-game edition Thursday in discussing the Rockets and the Warriors. So just stay tuned. Y'all know, subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Houston Roundball Review channel. Click on that bell so you can receive the notifications about a new show, a new video. So I won't know till I'm there. Goodness knows Wi-Fi. Who knows how things are going to be, where I'm going to be. But reminder, of course, thank you to my sponsor for the last few shows of the season, Byron Riley. Visit his website, ByronRileyCPA.com. Call him 832-303-3995. Again, that number is 832-303-3995. One more time, that phone number, 832-303-3995. Thank you to everybody Steven Fernandez, Everett Grant, Solo, Shirley, KDC, Jamon, folks who are too shy or don't like commenting, just like watching. Thank you for watching. Tell your friends about Let's Talk Houston Rockets. We do things a little different. Mike Will, how you doing, Mike? What are your thoughts on how the Rockets came back, got within one, and then turned the ball over and lost by 7? Do you want to see Dylan Brooks traded, like some of the Kim folks said in the offseason, or move to the bench? Some said move to the bench, and some said trade trade Dylan Brooks because it's taking up too many minutes. Solo on the men's side, UConn. Women's side, South Carolina. I thought UConn. I picked UConn. I did not do a bracket, but I thought the UConn men's team, of course, how about that? UConn men and women are in the Final Four, just like the NC State men and women are in the Final Four. So it can be done. University of Houston Athletics Administration. But that's another time, another story. I will discuss my alma mater and their indifference toward women's basketball Thursday afternoon on the lunch break. It will be recorded, so won't be any comments. You won't be able to. I don't think you can chime in the comments, but if you do, what you're going to see is me recording a show, and you're going to watch it live. But I recorded it on Wednesday. But Mike Will says tonight's game was a learning experience. The team is still growing. Mike, have you seen enough from Jalen Green these last 5 weeks to believe he is this Jalen Green is what you'll get from him every game going forward? Or do you still have doubts? Or do you think that this is just Jalen on a hot streak and he'll revert back to the inconsistent Jalen Green for months at a time next season? What do you say as we wrap it up these final minutes of this edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets here on Twitter and on YouTube? Steven says, Baby Daddy Green is here to stay. Well, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. Good. That could be the reason. I don't know. Some folks say, never mind. Reminder, of course, click on that shop button if you're watching on YouTube. Buy you some Roundball review merch, like a mug, the Let's Talk Houston Rockets merch, shirts, caps, hoodies, the tie-dye collection. I like some of those tie-dye shirts and stuff. The caps are nice too. Mike says, yes, sir. I think he was embarrassed when he was almost moved to the bench. Solo says, being a father gives you superpowers, I guess. But will those superpowers last? So y'all are saying these superpowers that Jalen has displayed are going to last going forward. This is the Jalen Green that the Rockets will get. We shall see. We shall see. Solo, give me your predictions on the Final Four. You ask me, I'm going to ask you. As we wrap it up here, and got to do this. Mike Will, have you seen my interview with Coach Udoka's sister, Mfon? And everybody who's watching the show right now. If you haven't seen it, she and I talked on Saturday. So check it out. You know, Fawn and I go back a long, long way, as she said, decades. That is true. Decades. We go back a long way. Solo says UConn for the men, Iowa for the women. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Jamon. Good. Thank you for that. Watching as well, Mike. Appreciate that. So let me do this for everyone. And that'll do it. Almost a full hour post-game edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets. As I said earlier, or minutes ago, might do another one of these on Thursday after the Rockets-Warriors game based on Wi-Fi. So just Continue subscribing to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber. A lot of content here on this YouTube channel. Rockets, Cougs, NCAA, interviews. A lot of stuff here for you. Football coming up also. But thank you to everybody for taking time out of your night, your Tuesday night, or if you're another part of the world, Wednesday morning, for chopping it up with us on this edition of Let's Talk Houston Rockets. And always remember this reminder, of course, Rockets lost tonight. They've lost 2 straight. Tonight they lost 113-106 in Minnesota to the Timberwolves. They're hanging by a thread for that play-in spot, hanging by a thread. But the Rockets' next game is this Thursday in Houston against the Golden State Warriors. Tip time is 7 p.m. Central. But click on that bell, subscribe to the channel, click that like button on all the videos. Tell your friends about the videos and the content provided on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. And always remember this, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective.
Game over.